But I'm ready whenever you are.
We on live.
Oh, we live.
We are live. Talking about, am I ready? I stay ready.
Okay, so you
I
gotta get
stay
ready.
ready. So if you are a business, you own a business, you're looking to get in business, one of the most popular things you will need to do is network. And network can happen in any space at any time at any moment. So it's really important to build that muscle. Let's talk about it.
Let's
Oh,
go.
and we got Ernest here. We got somebody else here. So let's go ahead and get into it.
All right.
What's up? Welcome, Ernest.
Welcome.
What's happening? What's happening? How we living?
How are you doing?
You know what? Life is good. Life is good. It's keeping me busy.
Okay,
But
let's
I'm
go.
here. You feel me? Man, I just got back from Savannah. I was helping to facilitate a training out there with an organization I just got involved with, Inspire EDU, doing some incredible work.
I literally just tagged your the CEO for a post. I'm
That's
scheduling
right.
my
Yeah.
post. I'm scheduling my post to talk about the panel I'm moderating, and he's one of the panelists.
That's
So
right.
I'm creating the post so that they'll just, I'm scheduling them out. They'll keep reminding people register and all that great stuff.
Yes, indeed. I've run across them a couple times. It seemed like very good people. So I'm excited.
Well, I'm gonna do a meet and greet.
I think
so, well, we're gonna do a meet and greet first. So,
bet.
mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're talking about networking today. Essentially,
they keeping me
as
busy.
we all know, as business owners, networking is a must. It's not an option. It's not an option not to network as a business owner, especially if you want to be a CEO. Now, if you're somebody who's okay with being in the background and you don't, care about those things or such things, that's fine. But if you want to drum up new business, let other people know what's going on and that your business and what you do, like, you have to get out and network.
Yeah, and one of the things that
Good evening.
some people feel as though networking is a ladder, but really it's not a ladder. It's think of it more like a web. So, most people when they go to network, they network to try to work up. I think we should change it to make it look like we're networking out, because us as the web keepers, the web makers, you have to make sure you want to look into how we actually utilize that web, in the sense of, hey, like, yeah, Nia, I might know you first, but in that web of networking, I got a chance to actually meet and have a great conversation with Ernest. So, and then Lisa, thank you for stopping by. Always doing a good job. And then meeting Lisa, just so happens sake on the web. So it's like literally talking about the web. But these are the things that I really want to get people to start thinking about. It's like, how can we change that narrative of when we go to network from a business perspective? It's what does your web look like? And is it really serving you, and is it dynamic? Because you need a dynamic feel, because you might just need that person for that season, but you never know how far they're on that season going to come back around, because we do get snow at least once a year.
My question is, why can't you do both? Why can't you? Webs go in all different directions. So why can't they go outward and upward? Because other than networking, like, in order for you to bridge the gaps between where you're trying to be and where you are now, you're going to need somebody that's up, because otherwise you're just going to be out here fumbling in the daylight with a flashlight trying to figure out how to get there. So that's the question I posed to the panel, I guess, because we technically the panel of us. Why can't you do both? Why can't you do up and out?
I don't see why you can't. What's stopping you?
I'm asking, like, what do you think? Because I'm asking in response to what you said. Like, you was like that people should try to go out and cast their web, and how you made the different networks. And I'm saying, like, what do you think about doing both, doing up and out?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, let's go for it.
I think there's something to be said about where you assign value across your network, and the people that you build relationships with and the value that you assign to those relationships, I think has a big impact on how you navigate this world of networking. And so, whether you see it as a web or otherwise, there's an opportunity to see value in the relationships that are near to you.
Absolutely.
And how you activate those relationships to bring about opportunities, and how you lean on the people that are in that network to be a resource to them, allow them to be a resource to you as well. There's some value there, and it's just important to think through like where you see the value. I think that's one of the issues that we run across, is that we don't see the value that exists when it's already there.
Agreed. I also think a lot of times we get hung up on titles.
That's
We
true.
think just because somebody has a certain title that they have the ability to get you where you want to be, or because they have that title, they're doing the things that you want to do. And I feel like it takes you really building authentic connections and nurturing those relationships to really figure out what someone is doing. And you want to build an authentic relationship where you both are looking to bring something. It's not just you coming in taking. You're coming in and giving, they're giving. You're basically finding ways how you can make yourself valuable to the relationship. Not just coming in like, hey, put a word in for me, man.
Right.
Right. Call your friends, tell your friends to get with my no.
So we could be friends.
Yeah, right. Maybe
Right.
today's not a day to get used though that very way.
Oh.
We gonna roll past that. Just keep going.
Keep moving. Keep moving.
Yeah. But also, like you said, is because I was thinking about, I think it was a story how E.T., the motivational speaker, how he was able to make his connections to get where he is. And he was like, I didn't reach out to the person that was on the stage. I reached out to the assistant, and getting the assistants here because they're the ones that actually controls the schedule. And by building that relationship with that assistant, seeing what the person needed, and really being available for them when they have that need, it's a win-win. You can't lose.
Mm. Yeah, again, I think that speaks to like where we assign value. Do we appreciate the fact that the person who actually is in control of the situation is the person that we need to be connected with?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we overlook stuff. We overlook people constantly. And
we do.
Guys,
and I think it's important also to focus on more long-term relationships and not short-term only. I know we have all these sound bites of people are here for a reason or season and all of that, but it may be plenty of times you have a conversation with somebody right now, and maybe at that moment it's not a good time or it's not a good fit, but just naturally, organically nurturing that relationship, you'll work together later.
And I can tell you that, like, even with Joy, she just chopped in. I met Joy at the Podcast Movement DC meetup. And ever since then, we were just chit-chatting on the side, and kind of found out she really wanted to start utilizing StreamYard more. And because of that,
we right person for that.
Oh. I mean, I just test out all the stuff. And so with her, like, we just kind of chit chat from like an hour to almost 2 hours, just on all the features, making sure she's getting comfortable with it. And now she's up here doing her own thing on StreamYard, and I'm like, can congratulate her on all the hard work that she's been putting in. But also, it's like, for the added value for me, for her, just, I'm not even sure she knows this, but she helps me understand how patient I have to be when it comes to somebody that's new to a technology, and things that it helps me learn more about the technology. Okay, like, how would I approach this if I was to do this all over again? And that's what I have to look at it as. And thinking about now is like, do I create how-to videos? Do I create workshops on how to utilize some of these technologies, even though they out there, but they so short and you don't even know what to do? Like, I can keep going on about how to use technology, but it's just, it's a lot, Yeah.
So I know what she's talking about. At first, I was a little confused, but now I understand what she's talking about. She's talking about StreamYard. They raising their pricing. right now. Yeah,
that 300%.
Canva, like that's a whole nother live. And hey, maybe that's the topic for next time.
Right.
Being strategic with the subscriptions and applications that you use to run your business, so you can still be financially sound. That's October live right there.
We'll get into that.
I think that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah. One of the things when it comes to networking that I've leaned in on is this idea that it's really tough to network when you're not putting your work on display. Ooh. And so
you're saying you can't be a secret agent.
That's it. You gotta be present. You gotta be like visible to people that you want to build relationships and connections with. It's like, because there's a different intentionality around how the relationship develops, right? We're not just talking about making friends, which is another important element of life. In this context, we're talking about building professional connections that you can leverage for your personal growth, that you can leverage for impact in the community you serve, or with the potential clients or customers you serve. And if that's the case, if that's the purpose for the work that you do in building these relationships, then your work has to be on display. Your values have to be on display. People have to see who you are, what you do, and why you do it, so they can understand how they can be a resource to you.
So I completely agree with that. And I have 2 points on that front. The first one is, if, like, I keep going back to this CEO comment, but I'm saying it on purpose because, you know, a lot of us, we are opening businesses to get away from the hassle of the 9 to 5 and to create a business and work for ourselves and things like that. However, a lot of times we end up just creating another 9 to 5. It's just for ourselves. And if we want to roll over into that role of being a CEO, it's going to require you build that muscle in, because that's what the CEO does. And the second point is, I learned that in the Goldman Sachs program. So I was in the Goldman Sachs program, second cohort, November 2022. Melissa Bradley, who is brilliant. That's one of the questions she asked us the first day. They flew us to New York. We get to New York. They get us, you know, they got the music, the theme music, blah, 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 blah. And she sit down and snatched all our edges. They had all the nice food. They had a nice playlist. They had us walking in the Good Morning Gorgeous in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, curated for us. And then we sat down and she snatched all our edges off. All of them. Not an edge in sight. And she asked us, are you a CEO or are you an entrepreneur? What are you? Are you a CEO or do you have a glorified side hustle?
Chief Everything Officer. Right.
Like, she asked, she said, if you are a CEO of your business, but you don't like to sell and you don't know how to sell, you might as well shut down your business now, because that's a CEO's job. While other people are working in their business, the CEO is out meeting, networking, on yachts, out golfing, making the connections and building the partnerships to drive the business, while someone else is operating the systems that they created.
The COO. Yeah.
That's it.
You know what? This lady might have an actual point about something. So that, I think, is another part where a lot of people, they shy away from it and they feel like, oh, well, I'm just going to make it without networking. And that might work well, but it depends on your end goal for your business. Yeah. If your end goal is to expand and, you know, that magic word scale, you're going to have to get out there and start building that muscle. And so for me, that was me. I didn't like to sell. I don't like salesmen. They get on my nerves. I can't say what I would say because I'm on here. It hurts my nerves. You see what I'm saying? I hate those very aggressive, pushy, overbearing, don't take no for an answer salespeople. So that formulated into a mindset for me that I didn't like selling. And my business advisor in the program told me, well, ma'am, I close down then. Because what else you gonna do? If you talking about hiring employees and hiring operations managers and hiring this, and this is where you want your business to go, what you gonna be doing? How are you gonna continue to drive business into that? You're gonna have to get out there and learn. You're gonna have to be able to sell your business to anybody else, better than anybody else. So that was a lesson for me that I had to learn, which has me out here. I have become a walking billboard for my business.
I think
every day.
I'm telling you, Like people who I just met in Atlanta be wondering, like, how is she doing so many things? I thought you just moved here. I did.
And did.
I did just move. I haven't even been here a year yet.
Right.
Wow.
And congrats on your, your upcoming talks and everything like that. You doing
Right,
your thing?
but it's because I can honestly say Goldman Sachs, like the program is legit. It is legit because I'm not a salesperson, but I mean, I want my business to succeed. I'm very passionate about it. I feel like it's something that solves a huge problem. So
can you talk about how you got into the Goldman Sachs program for those of people who are listening and just interested in going in?
They actually just closed the window too. It was just open. So the Goldman Sachs program, it's a very long name. So get ready. It's the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Women Black in Business program. So they have the 10,000 small business program. This is the 1 Million Black Women Black in Business program. And simply it's an application process that you apply, and then you have to be interviewed. And so they interview to make sure, one, you're going to have the availability to attend, to make sure you're able to step away from your business in some aspect, because they have homework. You got homework. You meet in 4 or 5 times a week. So you have to be available for those meetings. You have to attend them all. You have to take it very seriously. So they're trying to make sure that you are. They want to make sure that you're receptive to feedback, because they're going to give you feedback that sometimes you're not going to like. They're gonna tell you, they're gonna have you change your whole business sometimes, because what you think you want, what you're doing right now is not gonna lead you there. So that's what they kind of ask in the thing, and then they make a decision and they'll let you know. And once they let you know, I think it's a 10-week program. You go to New York initially, and the trainings are held in the Goldman Sachs headquarters. They have the Black Goldman Sachs employees come down. They come on their own time, like on their lunch breaks and things, and mingle, allow you to ask questions and different things like that. And you go through this 10-week program, basically giving you a lot of the skills to help you turn your small business into a business. Like that's the goal, to help bridge that gap of why most of our small business, they said that in 2020 during the pandemic, when a lot of people were getting laid off and losing jobs, Black women opened the most businesses.
Yep.
Like based on statistics. So they said, okay, well, but also statistically, Black women businesses don't succeed. So let's bridge that gap and give them what they're missing so that they can now succeed, since they started the most businesses. It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
It's an investment nonetheless, but obviously Goldman Sachs is not making, empty investments. They did the research correct, and they chose the demographic they saw the investment in, because they were opening businesses like crazy, but still missing those vital resources, access to capital, and things like that.
So let me not miss the opportunity to say, participating in cohorts and fellowships and accelerators is a massive networking opportunity.
I still talk to my accountability partner. I still talk to her.
Wow.
I just wrapped up a fellowship with the Truist Foundation that was led by the Watson Institute. They have
so tell about yours.
It's incredible.
Talk about yours.
So mine was 16 weeks. Like I said, it's sponsored by the Truist Foundation. It's led by Watson Institute. So that's an Atlanta-based initiative. It serves Atlanta-based social enterprise leaders. And so if you have a small business that has a social focus, or a B corporation, or even a nonprofit, they want to bring people together around this idea of helping you understand how to structure and talk about your business in a way that allows you to be clear on what it is that you do and where it is you're going. I think one of the things that I learned that was super impactful for me was this idea that like it's visible to people in how you talk about what you do, right? Mm-hmm. So through this 16-week experience, I went from talking about what I do as, how I show up in these different spaces and the impact that I have on the organizations and individuals I work with, to talking about what it is my business does, the business that I lead, and how it operates, and who is impacted through this business that I started. I've never even talked about my business in the context of the type of thing that could be invested in. It's always been just what I do. Mm-hmm. Right. I think that happens for a lot.
That makes a difference. That makes a difference.
Yeah. As solopreneurs, I think we slip into that very, very often. It's not, you are not the business. You and the business are two separate entities, and
Yeah.
you have to be clear on that idea and be able to speak to what the business is and the purpose of it.
And that's so crazy because I literally just bought my name domain so that I can build my personal brand page separate from my business page. I just did that. And I also feel like they're a great networking opportunity. I feel like you learn a lot of value. It sounds like they gave you the same thing that I got. You got to be out there, the way you talk about your brand and demonstrate and display your brand to others. It makes a huge difference. It sounds like the same principle.
Yeah. It's one of those things I never had thought about.
I'm actually trying to look up my name now.
You said what?
I'm trying to look up my name now, see if it's available.
Right, because I want to create my personal brand. I want to have my personal brand, a business, and a nonprofit arm. That's what my ultimate goal is.
Okay.
Yeah, That's a move. I know that I want my.
And that's what most companies have. Like they have a nonprofit public. The panel I'm moderating, Publix Charities, their nonprofit is one of the sponsors.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I want to get into more philanthropic work. And so like donor advised funds, foundations, I want to lean into that space, but I want to leverage the income, the revenue from the business to have an impact. But, it's like I said, it's being able to articulate what that means, what that looks like, and being able to say it in a way that speaks to what the work is outside of the person you are.
And I think that's where networking comes in handy as you get to the point where you're meeting people who have mastered that. And so that's very helpful. It's very important. Prime example.
Very mindful.
Say it again. Very mindful.
Very mindful.
Very demure. Very mindful. Very classy. Very entrepreneurial.
Come on here.
Right.
But like we did a hot seat this morning. So I don't know if you saw the post with Stephen Hughes was like, oh, well, we're doing speaking, we're going to do sales call. We did like sales call hot seats this morning. Well, we basically went through a role play of a sales call and then got critiqued by everybody else on the call.
That is cool.
Exactly.
That is cool.
Exactly. Because like I said, sales is my weakness. I can deliver the product, baby. It's not one time that I have ever delivered a talk that nobody didn't come up to me afterwards and want to talk to me. Not once. But my problem comes in selling. That's my weakness. But it's because of my own mindset. So it just plays so many roles. And when you meet people and they help you and they put it in that perspective for you, shameless plug, my business name, and it really just changes things. And I feel like networking has a huge part of that. But back to both of your points, it's who you networking with, and it's being very mindful, very intentional about who it is that you're networking with, because you're gonna meet some people and network with them and then need to drop them.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Again, back for that season process. Like you might even need them after 2 years. So like, okay, well,
sometimes you're gonna have to drop them because you're gonna meet them and you're gonna realize like, ooh, this is not a good match. This is not a good match. It's not gonna work. Yeah. And that's the real part of it,
And that's one of the things I've grown to accept. It's like, hey, I might have met you and we great, in person. But when it comes to the business side of the house, like I'm okay. I'm just not there yet to kind of take on whatever that person has to offer. And they kind of respect that, or they don't, and then just don't talk to me anymore. But it's fine. It's like it's business. I don't take anything to heart about it. But it goes back to like I don't have any cohorts or anything like that I've been to. I just go to conferences and I do a lot of in-person networking.
Okay, talk about it because I think conferences is also another great way. So what do you do? What is your strategy that you use, or how do you navigate going to conferences? It's this big room full of people you don't know, right? But you want to get to know some of them. So what do you do?
So don't try to downplay it. He's trying to downplay.
He does. He's very modest. He's very modest. He is. He's very modest. He is. So tell the truth. Maybe get old school on you. Tell the truth, Shane and Dell.
Well, when it comes to networking, one of the things is that I look for is, not quirks, but something that's a little off, a little different than what everybody else is asking you about. So I kind of dig in on your feelings, digging on the personal side of the house versus what you're doing on your day to day. Because you can talk about your work all day, but you can tell when people talk about their work, like they don't really want to talk about their work. They just want to talk about something else. Because we hear yes to network, but also to kind of really get to know the people. And because I do reach out to kind of know the person themselves and like, hey, how can I add value? And one of the questions that I typically ask is, so what brings you here today? And that kind of kicks off everything else. And then you just kind of active listening is a key point in all of this. And that's one of the things I think I do well. But my wife thinks differently, but it's okay though. It's okay.
That's another lie.
That's another conversation. Another conversation. But I'm trying to get better at it. And so because of that, it allows me to network well. So when I'm listening to people saying like, okay, yeah, I have this passion, this is what I'm doing great things. Even in Podcast Movement, because that was my latest conference. In Podcast Movement, somebody was talking about, hey, I do IP. I'm a lawyer for intellectual property. And that's what she does. So she does it for content creators. Coming from that aspect, I met somebody else who was talking about the strategic aspects of actually getting in sponsorships. And I was like, cool. I met them in 2 different spots. And I was like, you know what? Hey, this is somebody I think you really need to meet. And then they had that conversation. But because I was able to network and bridge that network for something that they needed, now it's like, okay, cool. Anthony's the guy to go to. Mm-hmm. So now, because I'm actually good at bridging people's gaps, and I got my own gap, but it's another topic too. But we did. So that's my impact and my value add is that I actually try to bridge the connections and really bring people together so that we can ultimately, do something great together.
Now that brings me to another point. We talk about making genuine connections and nurturing relationships, but it's very important to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Yeah. So your strength is being the connector. Like for me personally, my strength is making people feel comfortable. People feel very comfortable talking to me. People feel comfortable talking to me, telling me some of the deepest things that they wouldn't tell other people. And that's what I bring to personal finance, why people always come and talk to me after, because I don't make them feel so afraid or ashamed or fearful about their money. I take away that, like, there's no judgment over here. And that is what I bring. So even with my hot seat this morning, that's what he said. He was like, typically, you go to a lot of sessions. He said, but I'm not going to lie. Initially, off the bat, you made me feel like, oh, I could let my shoulders down. Like I could talk to her. She's not coming in. So I think that it's very important. Like if you want to add value, not just looking for whatever they need and adding that value that way, do something that comes naturally to you, something that you're good at. This is your zone of genius or superpower or whatever the case may be. Like you, StreamYard. You taught me StreamYard.
Oh, I did?
Yes.
I thought we just had we were learning at the same time.
I did not use StreamYard the way I use it now due to That's you. True. So everybody has what their specialty. So knowing what yours is very important in these relationships, because that's also how you choose people that you can benefit each other. Because to me, that's the best relationships. They're mutually beneficial. I'm helping you, you're helping me, we're working together.
Yeah, I just found out how to put my transcripts from the episodes onto my Wix website. It took me at least 2 hours to figure it out, but I mean, now they can't take it away from me. I'm like, all right. So if y'all go to my website,
you're gonna go teach somebody else, most likely knowing you.
Oh yeah, I'm about to do a how-to video on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what you're good at, and that's something that I think you excel in and you do well, and people appreciate it about you. You definitely have a value add. I think another thing that's really important when you're out networking.
Thanks, Joy. I mean, I just saw Joy saying.
Oh, you just saw it?
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're out and you're networking and you're meeting all these different people, it's really important to follow up.
Yeah.
it's really important to have a follow-up strategy. We walk away from this event or this conference never to be seen or heard from again.
Yeah, I'm bad with follow-up. So I am working on that because I just straight add people to my newsletter. Thank you, Nia, for the shout out in your newsletter. Please, if y'all guys haven't signed up to Nia's newsletter, what's your how to get people get signed up to your newsletter?
Let me put it on here.
All right. Because I was just featured, I was like, what? Okay.
You don't remember you gave them to me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, don't miss out on that. Don't miss out on that opportunity to connect with people too. After an event happens, you meet somebody, you see an opportunity to collaborate or connect, have a follow-up conversation. And it doesn't have to be an immediate sales conversation. I think that's a trap that I fell into as I started to.
It does not. That's a very good point. Like
I'm exploring the world of sales, right? My assumption was like, oh, well, if I'm about these sales, like my first conversation, it's like, yeah, I got to sell you something. But let's build a relationship. And if there's an opportunity for me to be a resource to you in a meaningful way, and you're prepared and interested in making an investment, let's make that happen. But we can't make that happen without setting the stage for that type of engagement to exist, right? So be willing to set the stage, be willing to just lean into what this connection could possibly be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you should come in with some type of strategy. And it doesn't mean that you have to be, like he said, like you don't jump into, sell, but just have some type of strategy. So one of the things I do is I'll connect with them on LinkedIn. Yeah. I make sure I consistently post what I'm doing, where I'm speaking, whatever webinar or workshop I'm having on LinkedIn. So if we connect on LinkedIn, you're gonna be like, oh, this girl she does this. Right. You're constantly seeing reviews from people who attended my events. You're constantly seeing books where like you see that I'm actively in my field. I'm not just talking about it. Yeah. To me, that makes a lot of difference. And so even people who were I went to the VIP program, United Way, even people from there have referred me, but it's because they saw me on LinkedIn after. One of them hired me to do a speaking engagement for their company.
Wow.
But seeing me on LinkedIn, like, oh yeah, she does teach financial literacy. Okay, let me call her. Them of what you do and who you are. So that's my strategy. I invite them to LinkedIn. I'm building a second email list now for my business contacts so I can give them helpful tips and information and things like that.
That's what we were talking about offline. Okay.
I talked to Chad, and Chad said to email them every 6 weeks, and that's a way that I can nurture the relationship between them, keep myself relevant. I said every 6 weeks. That's not even 12 emails for a whole year. Mm-hmm. I said, watch me work. I'm going to set and curate these. I'm going to do 10 emails. I'm going to schedule them 6 to 7 weeks apart. And my goal as I go to these events is continue to add people to that business email list. So I'll be building 2 different email lists, one for individuals, one for C-suite, decision makers, essentially. Yep. That's the strategy that I've developed for myself. It's not overburdensome. It's not me having them fill out a form. Literally, are you on LinkedIn? And they don't even know. Right. They have no clue what they've been put into what my networking strategy is. It's so natural. It's just literally, and then I talk to them. If they comment on their things, if I see something they're doing, I congratulate them. Very simple things, but it's building that relationship and letting it happen a little bit more naturally.
Yeah. And I will say that because one of the things I do need to get better at, because I do set the tags up in your email list as far as like where I met people at. So like even for the talks that I do, I'll just say like, hey, they were at my speaking engagement. So I have like a speaker thing like, hey, this is where I met them at as a tag. So if I just want to email those folks, I'm like, hey, thank you for supporting me in my talks. I want to give you guys something special, or hey, these are upcoming events I'm gonna be at. If you ever need somebody to talk about, personal finance or leadership, just kind of hit me up and go from there. And just kind of like, hey, this is what my next speaking gig is going to be at. Yeah, I haven't done that yet, but that's my plan. So I just want to let you know.
Exactly, and that's fine. It's fine that you haven't, but you thought about it. You created. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
wrong one building today.
When I tell you my email list is trash, brother.
No, what do you mean trash? Like, how many people on your email list?
Here's the problem. First, it's not trash because of the scale. I think I got a little under 1,000 folks who are like email addresses on this list. Here's the problem. It started off as a list of personal contacts. These are just friends and family, like folks I want to be connected with. Eventually, it shifted to focusing more on the business. And so then some of the people who were added to the list were more interested in like working with me, partnering with me on different initiatives and events. And then there were people who like showed up to some of the events I hosted who were clients of mine. And so now I just got this catch-all hodgepodge list of emails who sometimes get a newsletter and usually not, sometimes get an event invitation. And so just recently, we talking about in the last week or two, I combed through for like, okay, how many people are like actively looking at these emails? Let's scrub out anybody who hasn't opened the last 5 emails. Let's scrub out anybody who hasn't been added to the list in the last, 2 years. And that went from, what it was to very few, right? But that very few, I could be much more intentional with my engagement of that very few. And like, I got to recognize the value that's there. And to Nia's point, like really lean in and continue to be a resource in a meaningful way, even if it is every 6 weeks, like just send them something.
I like how you went from calling that trash to now it's value. Like it's really gold that you're saying, because I don't see trash. Like if anything else, I'm seeing highly active opening rates. You making sure you're getting your clients, the people that really want to be there. And that's one of the things I had to get over with when I started my email list was people were unsubscribing. And I was like, why you unsubscribe? It was like, because I didn't sign up for it. And I was like, well, you gave me a business card, so you signed up for it.
Where's the GP? What is it? The GPDR? Where they at?
Yeah, the GPDR, right?
Don't come for me. I ain't know.
Right. But the thing about it though, even with that,
you gave me your business card, didn't you?
Because they want to be connected, see what I'm doing. It's my business. But out of the 200 that I have, it's a small list, but I'm still getting an opening rate it's slowly increasing. So it started off at 58%.
That's good.
60 something percent now.
That's really high.
And the click-through rate is about 4%. So, it's just getting there. But the thing about the information that's being fed. And so to continue to add that value in there, I still think I can grow. I wouldn't call it trash. Ernest, somebody opening up your list.
Somebody open it. Hey, I appreciate it.
You get one person.
No, seriously, I would rather have 10 true fans than 1 million followers.
That's it. That's it.
Any day. Give me 10 true people than 1 million people who just following me to be following me or just subscribe to be subscribed. So I'm happy when they unsubscribe from my list. Because that means that what I'm offering doesn't resonate with them. That means that they're not a potential person for me because they don't like they're not picking up what I'm laying down.
Right.
That's it.
So I did ask because, most of the people, I know the people that are on my list. So when they unsubscribe, I'm hitting them up like, hey.
Let me go unsubscribe. Hold on.
Right. Like, why are you up here unsubscribing from my list? What is it? And it's not me.
That's good though. That survey though. That's good though.
Well, the survey that they have it's not great. Like, so I'll reach out to them personally and be like, hey, so what was it about my email list that you didn't like? And they was like, well, I just have a lot of emails right now. I'm subscribed to a lot of them. I just want to clear up my inbox. And I was like, cool. Well, I was like, well, mine is only monthly. Is it something else that's in there? Like the value add? Like, how can I make this a little better? And for right now, they just said like, it's just not a right fit. And I was like, cool. Well, you got my number. You can always, get back on the list. Just let me know when you're ready. And so I'm just continuing on to try to find ways to kind of make it more engaging, more informational, and actionable tips are in there. Especially like the last one I have about, your resume. And for people who are looking for jobs, like use ChatGPT. I put the whole prompt in there so that you can go down and build out your resume today. So Just trying.
So touching on, because we already at 8:42, this went by really fast. Touching on the last topic when it comes to networking, what are some ways that you leverage your network to grow your business? And this can be like, how do you tap into it? Referrals, collaborate. Like, how do you tap into it? You've gone to network, you followed up, you've built the relationships. Now, how are you leveraging that?
I think one of the mistakes I was making was looking for connections to businesses. I was wanting to do more B2B business, and I was more invested in connecting with the business than I was invested in connecting with the people. And I realized that was a misalignment in like how this thing really works, because the people, as they transition from one company to another, like the relationship can still exist, right? And now if you're not leaning into the relationship with the individual, you miss out on an opportunity to connect with other organizations, other businesses, other potential clients. And just, again, like seeing the value in the person that you're building a relationship with. And I think that was probably one of a major lesson for me, is just understanding that.
Yeah, I'll say as far as leveraging mostly it just kind of like, how can I help amplify that message? I mean, Nia, you and I, we've been on each other's shows for like over the past year.
Oh, so many times.
Several times. And majority of the time it's like, because I need to work on it, but advertising for other people's stuff. So it's like books and stuff like that.
You think you're bad at that?
I think so, but I usually bring you on. As soon as you came on, you were able to sell a book.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what you think you're bad at that?
Yeah, I am. That's why I said, hey, come on.
Bad at that. You don't have any obligation to sell anybody's anything. This is your platform and your show. The fact that you consistently highlight other people, you consistently give away other people's books, you consistently talk about other brands, build them up, talk about their books, read their books, educate people on their books on your platform. If you're bad, then I don't know what I am. What I should think of myself.
I don't know. I just think I could do better.
You do an excellent job. Excellent job.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. He just said thank you.
Yeah, it's growth. It's growth.
I see it was hard. I saw the struggle. And then you just said thank you.
Thank you. I that's one of the things I like about the collaboration piece and the referrals, is understanding more reflection of who I am and what is my true value add. Because things come natural to me and I don't see it that way. And I just see it like, hey, this is the way how things are. But also talking about giving books away, I actually give this book away. But I wanted to highlight this piece though, because since we're talking about networking and leveraging, I actually met Brandon at Podcast Movement, and like I met him earlier in Podcast Movement Evolutions earlier this year, and then we met again at Podcast Movement in DC, and he gave me his book because he finally got his book out there. But we were talking about networking with intention, and so networking with a purpose, and he has it in his book, talking about set up your networking plan. And he has in here is that before an event, see if you know anyone that's going and reach out and get someone to go with.
That's a good one.
At the very least, get familiar with the event hosts and leadership team and so forth.
I do that. Like people that I've met since I've been here, I'll send them a screenshot like, hey, they having, like, I'm going to a golf clinic this Friday. And a girl I met at a conference here, I sent it to her like, I'm going to this golf clinic. Like, if you want to go,
let's go.
Yeah, I'm going regardless.
That's good.
Like, right. Yeah. I just let her know.
And then one of the pieces as a takeaway for everybody that's listening, it says here, just plan out how you will introduce yourself at the event. Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people do struggle. Like, hey, what do you do? Like, what are you here
This
for?
is on point, because that's what I was going to do last. Have us give tips.
Oh.
So that's you just right on point. Let's go.
Okay. And he said, decide what is relevant about you to them. that you want to share and what you will ask them to get to know them better. And I think that's one of the things I do well with.
So that is one thing that I didn't do well at first. I have this, I do a pre-event meeting for like my speaking, and I have a presentation if they prefer to see, like if they're a visual person, and I have a presentation, I prepared everything. But the way that I talked about myself, like I would talk about what I do, I would talk about how I've contracted with other companies, but I sat in on another one on this team that I'm on in Evanston, and the people who were presenting to us, every topic or thing they highlighted about themselves was how it was going to affect our thing and how it was going to benefit our. So they weren't saying like, oh, well, we have strategic learning and development courses. They said, well, your members will benefit from our learning and development courses because they will be able to do this. That's how they presented every single point. So it's kind of like helping them understand how you're going to benefit them. So I think that's a huge one that I had to learn.
And I believe you were working on that over the summer too. I remember.
It got interrupted with a relocation, and then I had to pick it back up.
Yeah. But
any more tips? No more tips.
Oh, I mean, I got plenty of tips. So when it comes to
was saying,
yeah. So when it comes to collaborating, because I actually just met with I'm using real life stories here just to kind of put it into context.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have a problem with is trying to get more. Like I don't have a problem getting guests on the show, mostly because everybody just either like me or just kind of like really want to amplify their voice. So every time I ask them, even on my intake form, I always ask, how can I help you with your business and going forward? And most of them just say like, hey, just continue to post. We like what you're doing. We just want to support you mostly. And those collaborations and those just being genuine on it and not trying to take full advantage of somebody, I think has been the most helpful. And just continue to learn and share, like I said, just kind of share their content or like their content if they're putting out content, or just bring them on the show. Like one lady, the tax lady that I have that I don't have this, we built a relationship, but she comes on the show annually to talk about taxes, and it's been helping out her business. Like I said, even though we chat from time to time, but annually she knows in the spring I'm gonna kind of hit her up like, hey, you got something cool that you want to share with the audience this year? Because the taxes done changed. Huh?
It's always some new tax law.
Yeah, so when the new taxes come out, that's when I ask her to come on to talk about the new tax changes so that everybody can get ready for their taxes for the coming year. And so because of that, it's been really helpful in that process.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think my tip is kind of like I said before, having a strategy. So when it comes to choosing, well, first have a strategy. And when you're choosing what events you go to, one of the things or mistakes I made when I first, started going to networking events, like when we was coming out the pandemic, I was going to every networking event I saw. But the reality was a lot of them were small businesses like me. So we can network, but we all trying to get the same thing.
And that's why you bring in that same web you're talking about.
Right. And that was the problem that came. Like they can't help me and I can't help them because all of us are in the struggle and entrepreneur stage of our businesses. So we can talk and we can network and we can work on things in that aspect, but they can't hire me. I can't hire them. So if I'm looking to get contracts and get new business, I have to go, where are the decision makers? Where are the people who make decisions in the space, in the places that I'm trying to get hired from? Where do they go? Where are spaces that they go in? And so I started to go into different things, more conferences, galas, like gala season is coming right now. Yeah. Most of the nonprofits have some type of gala. Most of the decision makers and the people who donate all the money, they will be there. So starting to go to those type of events or go to more conferences that have the people that I need there. So I'm going to more procurement summits, other things that are like maybe chamber events that are held during the morning. A lot of just going to those type of events, I feel have given me better networking connections that I can benefit them. I still can be of service to them. But going to the original ones, all I gained was weight. Because it's no, no, seriously, because they always have food there.
Yeah.
They always have food. It's never healthy food, and my discipline is not there yet. So I would end up eating and talking, and I would meet people, but my business wouldn't go anywhere because I wasn't meeting anybody that could hire me, and I wasn't meeting anybody who was at a level in their business that they had been hired much. So we both sitting here
trying to figure it out,
running around the hamster wheel. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that there's anything wrong with networking with them, but I couldn't make all of my events that. And then I had to have a strategy of like, if I do meet the person that I want or the person who is the decision maker, what am I going to say? Who am I? What do I do? Know how to say that when I'm talking to them, when I'm going in. Know what, if somebody walk up to me and say, okay, well, how can we work together? I need to know how the hell we can work together.
That's it.
Because that back end process, I say it's a struggle for most businesses. It's like, yeah, you can provide the product, but how can people actually purchase that product?
One more, and make it easy for them. My last tip, and I'll shut up. Make it easy for somebody to purchase from you or to get in contact with you. So at any given time, if you meet me and we talking and I tell you about my course, baby, you can scan this code right here. You're going to click once, like say like, oh my God, I need that. Let me sign up for that. In 2 clicks, you will be at the checkout page.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're not going to be doing a lot of clicking. You're not going to be searching much. You're going to go click. And when you're going to scan this, click on the website. It's going to come up. You click on that. Your next thing is my checkout page for whatever the product is that I'm telling you about. So I had to make it where it was an easier process, more QR codes. Any flyer I create, I put a QR code on it so that you can sign up right now. Because people walk away from your table, see 50 other tables, and forget all about it. They done gave your money to somebody else. It's gone.
I need to build my stuff out like that. Right now, it's way too difficult to make an investment with me. It's like it's gonna take several conversations. It's gonna take a lot of time, and I just haven't automated the systems to make it more functional in that way. But in this context of networking, one of the things that I want to make sure I call out is having an awareness of the difference between who you are and what you do. Right. And so being able to speak to the fact that when I show up in these spaces, I'm coming in as this is who I am. I'm Ernest. I'm a husband and father. I love this work of social enterprise, nonprofits, and philanthropy. These are the pieces of who I am. And what I do is lead a business that focuses on strategy, facilitation, and guidance. And so I'm talking about myself and the work that I do as two separate things. And with that, I'm creating space for our humanity to exist in this space, right? I like cartoon socks. You like cartoon socks? You know what I'm saying? Can we have a conversation about something?
Yes, that's how you build those relationships. Pieces.
The pieces. I'm not a singer, but
when I hear pieces, I just think of Martin. Husband, pick up the pieces.
Don't worry about the money.
Back to your point, your very serious point that we just.
Yeah, we're serious.
Go ahead.
No,
as you were saying.
No, but it's having the awareness of who you are and the awareness of what you do and creating room for a conversation that allows space for both of those things to exist for yourself and the person that you're building a connection with. That's the
I think that's important. It's very important. So yeah, we at 8:56. I think this was a wonderful discussion. I thank you all for your time. I feel like these are things that typically people don't talk about when they talk about networking. So I love this new idea that we even had to come on here. I hope that this was helpful. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. We'll be happy to answer to the best of our knowledge. All of us at some point have had to network as a part of our business. Even I feel like, you know what, another thing I think is being vulnerable too. So not being vulnerable where you like pouring out your heart to somebody you don't know, but you have to be open to those connections. You have to be open to seeing what happens. You have to not have the mindset like, oh, what they gonna do, what they want.
Yeah.
What they're trying to get from me. Now, truth be told, some people do. You do meet some people that they are. Because I've experienced that with me being newer here. I've had people be like, well, how is she doing all these things and she just got here? So I've had people ask me like, oh, well, can you teach me what you're doing? And they're like, oh, well, I know people with, I know these many people in this space. And it's like, well, just because you know that many people don't mean that that's gone. Like, so how's that correlating? But sometimes you do have people out there who are like that.
Yeah.
But some people are not. Some people are genuinely out there looking to network and open to the connection, but you have to be open as well. I haven't seen any questions come up. Do we have any last tips of advice, words of encouragement, any of those things to share?
I would say, because my show is a lifestyle show to help build confidence, and the way how I'm building out my confidence equation, as a prior teacher, is that you're gonna need your data points.
Did you see how he straightened his shirt? I know you saw he straightened his
shirt.
Yeah.
Got straight shirt.
Just check.
So you have you need your data points. You need to figure out where things are. Once you have your data, then you got your feedback. I'm sorry, your feedback feeds into your data. Now that you got your data, it's either you have the knowledge now. Now that you have that knowledge, you need to take action. And that action on the knowledge that you just have provides that confidence, because you need to take constant action. And a lot of people just turn into action, but they don't turn over to that confidence. But it will turn out. You just need to put in the work so that you can feel comfortable doing it on your own.
Let me just say, in third grade, I was real good at math. Okay, now this is third grade me. And I would get done with my assignments very, very quickly and turn them in to the teacher. And I would forget to put my name on them. And my third grade teacher reminded me, you have to put your name on your work and you have to show your work. You don't get to just put the answer down there without showing how you got the work done. In business, put your name on the work and show your work. Don't just show how you got the work. Show us what it is you do. How does it work? So that people can understand that you're not just making this stuff up. You didn't just pull all your answers from ChatGPT, but you're actually the person that comes with the wisdom, the insight, and understanding to get this work done in the most effective and efficient way, in the best way that your clients can benefit from the service you provide.
So my final words are, when you're networking and you're meeting people, and learn how to learn how to recognize when a sale is about to happen. So learn how to recognize the words, or somebody say, oh, okay, well, yeah, let's talk about that. That means you need to be setting up a call or a strict follow-up for you all to jump on a call and discuss it. And at that time, that's an official sales call. And you have that one time to make an impression and to build that network to see how you can solve the issue or problem that they have. So making sure that you start to it's a process of starting to learn the words and pay attention and pick up on the cues, but understand when a sale is, they're ready. They're like, oh, they already know they need you. And so be ready to say, oh, okay, let's talk about this so you can get your proposal out, and just build your process of what that looks like after that. What do they do? Do they fill out a survey or a questionnaire or something? Do you all jump on a Zoom call? What is discussed on that Zoom call? Like, having all of that stuff together so you can consistently practice that process and master it is going to make your process much more seamless, and to the point where you'll just know it like the back of your hand. So I think that's a great thing. But thank you so much for everybody. Of course, while you're here, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can know when we're coming back with more content. For me on my channel, I like to share down to earth home and money and home buying tips. So if that's something that you're looking for, you're trying to get your life right with money, definitely feel free to like and subscribe, and then we'll see you next time.